Howdy everybody. I'm gonna wait to make sure you guys get in here. And it's Friday, 10 minutes to lunchtime. And I'm out here with Puppy. Just went to my post office and I got this t-shirt sent to me in my P.O. box. And it says, "The free press matters." And it was sent to us from some friends from Arizona. And I'm gonna give them a shout out, but I wanna make sure it's okay first. And I'll post the card that they sent me. They sent me this for Mother's Day, and I'm at the Los Gatos Police Department. Hi, Johnny Bravo. So happy you're here. Happy Friday. It is 10 minutes to lunchtime, and so somebody just sent me a Free Press Matters t-shirt at my P.O. box. So instead of going home and sending all my emails and records requests, I came down to the Los Gatos Police Department and I made one in person. I don't have my horizontal figured out yet, so for everyone that gets mad off about that, they can get off now. I have my old-fashioned headphones in so that I wouldn't mess it up. And thank you, Jenny, for being here. Tanishta, Spencer, Johnny Bravo, Noel Day, and Shirley. Can't see because I have a dog hair on my Shirley Perry. Thanks for being here. You guys are the first in. And I just wanted to do a little quick live because one, I got my t-shirt and I thought this was a good spot to show that t-shirt and thank them for sending that to me. And two, I wanted to talk about, this is the first police department where I did a live stream with Camera Joe, and it was back in early 2020, I think it was. And it was just before everything shut down in Los Gatos. And when we did the live stream, the police department staff, they were a little salty about our records requests. And we had such fun. I'm going to open the door and kind of show you the police department so that you can see what it looks like in here. And I just did a video doing a public records request, and they were really good about it. But when I came here before with Camera Joe, there was quite a little scene. They had to talk to the chief, and they made a big scene about it, and they made a big stink. It felt a little retaliatory. Joe taught me to say, don't call this number. There's some number. And as we said it, the phone started ringing, and it was really kind of magical to know that at that point we had I think it was a Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock, we had about 200 people watching my records requests. And journalists make records requests all the time. Sometimes they pan out and sometimes they don't. But it was very exciting to see that happen. And that happened because of all of your support. And Puppy's been with me the whole time too. There she is. I always try to get shots so she gets in it. And this police department has always been a little bit problematic. It is a town with a lot of money. They fund the police. I had a retaliatory parking ticket from Officer Hoyt one time. You can see the video about that. That was June 10th, 2020. I know that date well. And we also got public records that showed a family court judge was going on ride-alongs with the police chief and whoever he designated. And that was particularly bothersome to me because the family court judge who was going on ride-alongs was Judge James Towery. And at the time, he was sitting over that secret club. So if you look back through my videos, I talked about the Bar Bench Media Police Committee and the Three Flames meeting, which one of my criminal IRS investigators from Los Gatos told me one time that it sounded like an old-fashioned mafia type meeting, and it felt like that as well. And they used taxpayer money for that. So the Los Gatos police needed some oversight, and when I moved here, I didn't know about all the history and the problems of traffic ticket fixing. And there's some indication that there is some divorce case fixing going on involving a core group of judges from Los Gatos and a nonprofit known as Women SV. And so one of my sources on that, Jane Doe 1, went to Women SV and had Judge Hayashi, who is from Los Gatos, and then had Judge Cindy Hendrickson. And so we've been doing a lot of reporting on that, and that reporting last Friday, if you watch my last long video, resulted in the new presiding judge, Julie Emity, coming out of the courthouse, sending the sheriffs to serve me with an order that recording outside the courthouse is criminalized now. And I have been recording outside that courthouse, in these police stations, and various places for 7 years. And so that order is nothing but First Amendment retaliatory. And after that Friday, I got sent this Free Press Matters shirt. And I'm going to take legal action on this. I'm going to report on it, and I'm going to take legal action, and I'm going to file a federal lawsuit against the courts and the county for violating First Amendment rights, for prosecuting me for recording the police officer who broke my hand in violation of a local rule. I did do that federal lawsuit initially, and I dismissed it because I don't believe that lawsuits solve problems. Uh-oh, I lost visual. Hang on. Okay, we're back. And I am so disturbed by the fact that a presiding judge who fancies herself a vulnerable community member and talks a lot about diversifying the bench would be 2 months into her office and issue the most outrageous unconstitutional order that I've ever seen. And that's coming from a family court where the judges have done ride-alongs with the Los Gatos police and hosted these secret meetings. So I just want to thank everybody who got together and sent me this shirt a week after. I got it exactly a week after I was served with that order. I have already filed administrative complaints against the judges. And just so you know, those administrative complaints never go anywhere. But we saw immediate retaliation against me and anybody associated with me, especially as it relates to Judge Cindy Hendrickson and the cases that I've been following from the nonprofit known as Women SV. And yesterday I went to Los Altos. I didn't do a live stream, I did a little short, and we got some records, and they were a little better trained on the records. And the police department and some sources at the city told me that they have shut down the nonprofit largely because of my reporting and the people who were brave enough to come forward. So that nonprofit got $250,000 of county money. It got tens of thousands of dollars from the city of Los Altos, and it had a total of over $2.2 million reported in public and private money, and they did absolutely nothing except, in my opinion, do case rigging and make divorce lawyers a lot of money. So we got my shirt, I got my dog, I got all of you. There were 71 of you that came in, and I just want you to know that every day we see injustices in the court. We see violations of due process. We see prosecutors cheating to win cases and put people in jail. We see just about everything that you can imagine in court. And people don't know because nobody is educating them, especially about what's going on in the family courts. And the family courts and the connection to the criminal courts and the police is far more important than anybody knows. So I got my shirt on. I've made my records requests. We're going to make some videos this weekend. And I am one determined journalist to make sure that that judge's order is overturned. And I'm going for getting judges off the bench. And if more happens to them than that, then I will consider that impact reporting. So we've already gotten a couple of judges to retire. We've gotten a couple of police officers to retire because of our reporting. We've shut down the funding to a shady nonprofit. And the free press does matter, and it matters in every single community. And everything that I'm reporting on here in Los Gatos and Santa Clara County and San Jose, all of that repeats across the country. And so I just want you guys to know I am determined to do local reporting that matters. I appreciate all your support. I know that a lot of you that watch my videos might not have a personal interest in what we're talking about, but you are seeing the patterns, and it does help. Hey, SLO County Observer, it's really nice to see you. You say you were almost arrested in Fresno. Yeah, we have some problems in Fresno and San Joaquin Valley. I did do a little I included Merced in my last video. I'm doing more investigative work in Merced, and we can talk about that. And I will be going down the San Joaquin Valley more to Bakersfield and Fresno. As always, I absolutely adore San Joaquin Valley transparency. I'm not listening to any of the infighting that's going on. If people are going to infight over what people do and what they think and their opinions, they're not paying attention to the important work that all these channels are doing. And you know that I don't cuss on this channel. It's just my platform's policy. I don't believe that I don't need to use that language. I'm 61 years old. I don't think it's appropriate, but I also am not going to say that the people that do curse at police are doing something wrong or bad, because the police need to be trained to not listen to that. And what I am proud of is that we put on a camera and came in here and live streamed. And when I show you the video from going into the Los Gatos and the Los Altos police departments, then and now, you will see a difference that cameras and our reporting made a difference on. So yes, please everybody like and share. We just hit 66,400 subscribers this morning before I left. YouTube is not the most generous in compensation, so anybody that's able to help with gas money or the fees that we have to pay for records and the time that we spend, we rely a lot on having volunteers and off-record sources help us. And yesterday, I just want to give a shout out to the people in Los Altos who talked to me on and off the record and let me know the impact that our reporting has had. So thank you everybody for coming in. That was my little word salad. I am going to go a little bit more into what I'm investigating and why I am determined now that I'm going to take federal action against the family courts and the county here in Santa Clara County. So in 2013, we got the records that said Judge Towery was doing ride-alongs with the Los Gatos police. There would be no legitimate reason for a family court judge to do ride-alongs in a community where they hear domestic violence cases. And domestic violence cases in all communities are income generators for the courts. They make divorce attorneys a lot of money. Brad Baugh once told Jane Doe 1 that adding domestic violence to a divorce adds $50,000 to $100,000 in attorney's fees. That's not safety, that's not protection, that's just making attorneys more money. Another attorney recently told me, when I was upset about something a divorce attorney had done, that divorce attorneys are allowed to act immorally and unethically to a certain extent. And there's really very little enforcement of them in the courts or with the state bar. And so I think that's important to remember. If you're hiring an attorney, you can't be surprised when they throw you under the bus when this is the system that we work in. And whether it's a divorce attorney or a criminal defense attorney or a public defender, attorneys not providing a zealous representation for their clients is a bad thing. Attorneys not willing to speak up against judges who are breaking the law and violating due process rights is another thing. The other thing you've seen a lot on this channel that most of us didn't know until I started reporting on it is the court reporter issue. That they don't allow cameras in courts in California, but we have court reporters, and there has been a court reporter shortage. And as a result, the taxpayers have to pay for court reporters for indigent litigants, and then private attorneys and clients with money have to hire court reporters and bring them in, or their hearings will not have a historical record. And without a historical record, you can't appeal. There's no record to challenge what the judge says, and the order becomes the order without any question of what went on in that proceeding. And this is especially applicable to cases I'm currently watching in front of Judge Cindy Hendrickson. And recently, I saw somebody request a transcript from Talty Court Reporters, which is the court reporting agency used by private judges and in their cases, and a lot of very affluent divorce attorneys. And Talty actually had the audacity to tell somebody that they couldn't give them the transcript because they were not related to the case. Well, these are the court reporters making the historic record of our court proceedings. And if there are not cameras or court reporters, there is no record. And so for these court reporters to determine who gets a transcript is so unconstitutional. And this happened in a case that has been in front of Cindy Hendrickson, and there is a pattern of that. So if you look through my videos, you see that I did a video interview of somebody talking about Cindy Hendrickson throwing them out of her courtroom. 20 days later, they issued an order that I could not legally make that recording after February 27th. And if I can't make recordings to tell you what's going on in courtrooms where there aren't cameras, and court reporters are playing games about who they're going to give transcripts to, we have a real problem with transparency in our courts. And if I have to deal with that in a federal lawsuit, I've decided that's what I'm going to do. So, nope, John Bryant isn't going to be the civil rights attorney that rides to the rescue. Institute for Justice, maybe. I'm going to reach out to a lot of the First Amendment firms. I've got my Free Press, thanks to you guys. I've got my a Free Press Matters shirt. I'm going to wear this when I go in and make some public records. And I want you all to remember that you're all the press, that you have a right to record in public. You have a right to record police. When you're making a police report, you better record it because you don't want their narrative to be the monopoly. And so if you have to talk to police, always record it. And if the police are asking you questions, don't answer the questions unless you're filing a police report. So thank you guys, and thank you for all your support, because you really have shown us that this is the free press. This is Los Gatos, California, and if we can't get it right here in the heart of Silicon Valley, we're in big trouble. So thanks for coming out. I'll read your comments a little later. I got to go send some complaints off about judges and look for a civil rights attorney willing to defend a First Amendment auditor and investigative reporter in Silicon Valley. So if you guys have any ideas, put them in the comments, and we'll see you next week. We've got some videos dropping this weekend. Don't forget, like, shares, comments, subs, it all helps. And if you're able to donate, I always put in the links, Venmo and PayPal, and I also put my address, and I'm always very pleasantly surprised. The very best support I get of all are t-shirts just like this. So hopefully you guys can see that. There's Puppy sleeping on the job again. She did that a lot yesterday, waiting for records. And we'll see y'all soon.